The calm before the storm. Imagine a scorching desert where the sands thirst for justice, a place where 72 souls stood against an empire knowing they would die. This is Karbala, a battle not for power, but for truth, and at its heart, Imam Hussain is the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, betrayed, abandoned, yet unbroken. Why did he choose certain death? And what does his sacrifice mean for us today? Would you stand for justice even if you stood alone? Think about it as we unravel this tragedy. Background: to understand Karbala, we must go back. The year 680 AD, the Umayyad dynasty, led by the tyrant Yazid, seized power, demanding absolute loyalty. But Imam Hussain is refused. He knew silence in the face of oppression was betrayal, and so he left Medina not for war, but for truth. But here's the question: why didn't more people join him? The answer is chilling. The journey to Karbala with his family and a handful of followers, Imam Hussain is embarked on a journey, betrayed at every turn, abandoned by those who promised support, one that would change history, until finally, the barren land of Karbala awaited them. An army of thousands stood ready for what? To kill the Prophet's own grandson. But the real tragedy hadn't even begun yet. The day of sacrifice, the night before Ashura, but not a single soul abandoned him. They knew some truths are worth dying for. That night, prayers were whispered. Imam Hussain has gathered his companions. "You are free to leave," he said, "not for victory, but for strength." What would you have done in their place? Loyalty or survival? The battle of Ashura dawn broke, and so did the Arab. One by one, his companions fell. Heroes like Habib ibn Ladhar, Abbas, betrayed by the very people his grandfather had taught to love justice. The Lion of Karbala, and Ali Akbar, whose voice echoed his grandfather's. Yet, Hussein stood, pierced the baby's neck. The universe wept, and then, the strike that shook history. Imam Hussain fell alone. But why did the army of Yazid not stop? The answer will shake you. The martyrdom. Then came the final moment. Wounded, thirsty, he held his 6-month-old son, Ali Asghar, an arrow, but his message never did. But the horror was far from over. Bibi Zainab, the daughter of Ali, stood fearless. In the court of Yazid, she delivered a sermon so powerful, the legacy of resistance. From Gandhi to Mandela, leaders drew strength from Hussein's stand, because truth never dies. The captivity, the women and children, now prisoners, marched through streets that once loved them. It exposed tyranny for centuries to come. Would you have the courage to speak truth to power like she did? Because the world is changed by those who refuse to kneel. The message of Karbala. Karbala was never about defeat. It was a revolution, a cry that echoes today. Never bow to injustice. But here's the real question: what does Karbala mean for you? Every era has its Yazid. Every society faces a choice: submit or resist. Imam Hussain has taught us, even if you stand alone, stand. And the next chapter of this struggle is being written by you. The sands of Karbala still whisper his name. The question is, will you listen? If this moved you, share it, because stories like these must never be forgotten. And remember, truth needs no army, just courage. Are you ready?